Hello, Mau Mau. Hello, Go Mudbugs. Hello, Nimby. Hello, my ear trumpet. Hello, Wookish. I think the usernames came back. At least for me. Happy Loud House Tuesday. Happy Loud House Tuesday. Yeah, the usernames came back for me. Everyone's a username again. Instead of their display name. Yeah, it sucks. I don't know what happened. It's like, huh? Huh? Yeah, I need to tweet out the stream. I'm sorry I'm a little late today. I was taking a user handles have returned. The user handles are back. Hopefully they're not here to stay. Right. Also, thank you, my ear trumpet, for the throne gifts. The human and dog treats. Who knows with you? Yeah, who knows? YouTube is very weird these days.
My ear trumpet has been struck by lightning. Gifted membership to 𝑬𝒐𝒂𝒎𝒄.
Oh my god! Thank you, my ear trumpet, for the gift member to 𝑬𝒐𝒂𝒎𝒄. Thank you. Oh well, for some reason in the gift membership it shows your full name instead of your full legal name of my ear trumpet has been struck by lightning. Your full legal name. Give your doggy a pet from me. I will. I haven't, I'm not home yet, but as soon as I get home and visit my doggy, I will pet doggy so much. Oh, I know what I can do. I can buy the treat, make videos eating it, or like put it next. That could be a good idea. Like, he personally thanks you for the treats and stuff. That'd be a cute idea. Hello, hello! That is an adorable. Yeah, okay, I'll do that when I next month and buy the food for him. Oh, I can buy it now and then I can like bring it back next and then I could do that too. I am mixing my I made a matcha drink but I didn't put any hot water in it, so it's just like a bunch of clumps of matcha powder right now. But at the same time, I don't think matcha powder really dissolves. Oh, that's bitter. Oh, the matcha is bitter. I did not know it'd be so bitter. It's bitter. I think it's because I just had like a clump of matcha powder. It's like ah.
Oh my
At my ear
god!
trumpet super chatted $2.00. Dog guide dog service dog poodle.
Thank you, by a trumpet, for the emotes. The super emotes. Dog, dog, guide dog, service dog, and poodle. Not even poodle dogs, they're just poodle. I should boot up the game. Gosh damn it, that is really bitter. Not super bitter, but like I had a clump of it in my mouth and it was like, ugh, disgusting. Alright, boot up the visual novel so we can do more political reading. I was wondering what TTS would say. You know. Well, I want to finish it today, but I'm not too sure how long there is to go. I think there's like 3 more chapters. Just 3 more chapters. Hopefully we can. Hold on, game is broken. Oh wait, we can't finish it today. Why? Wait. I scheduled this. One second. Let me double check my schedule. Why do I have? Why do I have to put this stream schedule? Oh, so maybe we don't finish. I think we only have 1 stream of this implant. Yes, but apparently I have this for next week as well. But we might be able to finish it today, depending on how it goes. Chicando. And that's a big mic. Planning ahead. Yeah, I planned ahead for this entire month actually. So people were like, hey, can you play this with us? And I'm like, I have my entire month scheduled, so probably not. Okay, check. Alright. Where's gameplay? Purgatory. This is There we go, Purgatory. We will continue the game, the visual novel. Let me just move the stuff aside. Continue. I wonder what else has this. Please wait. Oh, I have to go to the other side. I forgot what happened before. Are you watching any horror movies during spooky month? I'm not. I wish I could. I wish I could go to the cinema and watch some movies, but alas, the cinema does not call for me. I don't. Is there even a cinema? I'm entirely sure. Myself to the other side. Not hide myself. Move myself to the other side. Oh yeah, we were okay. So recap: we're a werewolf. We were breaking into this factory for some reason because there was a moida of another werewolf, and we were wondering like why is the evil monsters in this factory killing our local werewolf. Was investigating them, and it turns out that this factory is hiring people running away from the war to make weapons for the wars. It's kind of something like that, basically. Basically something. And I think we just finished snooping. Pat came over to me as I told her what I had found. I found a few things as well, she said. Turns out that there's a large shipment that's being sent to 𝒂💏 military base on the border. Tonight. She frowned. I could have sworn I heard that name before. From 𝒂💏, I asked. Maybe, she said thoughtfully, then shook her head. Either way, we've spent enough time here. Pat's expression suddenly froze. I turned to see where she was staring, but found only a stone statue, an abstract humanoid figure of curving limbs and a blank face, or rather, what should have been a blank face as two eyes blinked open. The eyes pulsed as a body of misty gray pulled itself out from within the stone, pointer fingers first, followed by clawed legs that ended in vibrant purple spikes. But what stood out the most was the eyes. Eyes of all sizes, shapes, and colors decorated every inch of its body, and all of them were focused unblinkingly upon Pat and I. A scryer. Notable for their many eyes. Although they differed in form, their unblinking eyes were always the most notable part about them, indicative of their spying nature. I hate it when that happens. Yeah, well, don't you hate it when people with many eyes appear? Most stayed safely observing from the Umbra. It's the Umbra. The spiritual mirror of the physical world, I see. But it appeared that our work had drawn this one out. Perhaps the information we had just obtained had triggered it as a sort of final defense mechanism. While this proved that the information we had found was indeed tied to the worm, manifestation and symbol of evil, entropy, and decay, in Garo belief, it also meant that, unfortunately, our presence had not gone unnoticed. You wanna talk? Listen, we're leaving now, I said in what I hoped was a soothing tone, as Pat looked at me askance. Just step aside and we'll go. I'm gonna go like, I'm gonna do a growl like, wow, get away. I snarled at it, showing a hint of my werewolf side. You are no match for two Garou. You know that, so step aside. Its many eyes stared back into mine as it quivered, then disappeared back to the Umbra. Pat shook her head, but followed me out. That thing will have a record of us, she warned. There was not much we could do about it now, though, as we left the room. Oh, then I guess I should have fought it. My bad. We breathlessly rushed the corridor, exiting out the first side door we came upon. Outside, we shapeshifted to our lupus forms. We had nearly reached the fence when I heard a loud shout. Turning my head, I saw a security guard racing towards us, waving a baton wildly in the air. I attacked him. Rage clouded my vision as I rushed at him. Leaping with a snarl, my jaws clamped down on his arm. He screamed in pain and panic as the taste of iron filled my mouth. I felt my vision go black. As he hit the side of my head with his baton, I was forced to let go, dazedly watching as Pat walloped him with the powerful butt of her head before he could strike again. While he was writhing on the ground, she jerked her head towards the fence. I leapt the fence. I used the remaining dregs of my strength to leap the fence, hitting the ground harshly as we instantly took off into the woods. Pat and I plunged back into the wintry forest, our steps not slowing until we made it far away from the grounds of 𝑣Tuber Corporation. I shapeshifted back. Pat and I returned to our homid forms. Pat called Ilona, letting her know what we had learned as we headed through the woods back towards the main road. Stinky. You're the Stinky. Hello, Mau. Welcome. We had done it. I could barely believe it, but we had successfully infiltrated VX Corporation and managed to make it out. Pat continued talking, but her voice had transformed, becoming hollow and muted as the chilling stillness took hold of the forest. The former. Fomori are a melding of human and bane and a result of long-term possession. The former I had encountered yesterday stepped out in front of us, his black business suit, pristine and crisp like the funereal outfit of a newly deceased corpse, was a violent contrast to the soft, snowy landscape. Pat immediately hung up as we tensed, staring warily at him. He smiled at us. Well, well, if it isn't the companion of that little boy I killed yesterday. Oh, so he moided the child. I should have known it was a mistake to employ human children, but their greed and delicious inclination towards violence was just so intoxicating. He smiled, as his eyes flashed with an inhuman light. And now it's brought you two here. I presume it was you two that let that little weaver's spirit loose in the factory, he asked with a patronizing smile. Manifestation and symbol of order and pattern. What did you do to it? Pat said in a deceptively calm voice. Why, I destroyed it, of course. I felt a shiver skitter up my spine as anxiety blossomed within me. What does this mean for us? Did that mean our images were all over the internet by now? Was I going to jail? The thoughts crawled over one another in a pile of terror, broken only by the foremost mocking voice. Oh, don't look so worried. Your little spirit was indeed successful in wiping the cameras free of your presence. His veneer of a smile remained unwavering. Hello, a certain mysterious virtuoso. Welcome! Names are messed up. Yeah, names are messed up. His veneer of a smile remained unwavering, which frankly works out all the better for me. It is so irksome to have to destroy the evidence of you loathsome humans' existence, and here you are, have done part of the work for me. He began to laugh, an unnatural sound that rose the hairs on the back of my neck. Did you kill 𝑬𝒏𝒏𝒌𝒔 too? Pat's question interrupted his laugh as he tilted his head at her questioning. Welcome! Okay, I don't know who this was person. 𝑧𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒏. Welcome! Welcome, 𝑧𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒏. 𝑬𝒏𝒏𝒌𝒔, another Garou, Pat said flatly. He was killed in 𝑬𝒐𝒐 Park last week by a vein. I can go a voice chat. I want to know how to read. There is like reading things, but I'm trying my best. Like there is like ways to read it. 𝑬𝒐𝒐 Park. The foremost lips curled into an enigmatic smile. As much as I wish to take credit, I'm afraid not. But you know who it was, I guess. He shrugged. Perhaps. He was hiding something. I got achievement. Use Animal Ken 5 times during a playthrough. He was hiding something, I could tell. Why not tell us, I asked. You're obviously already planning on killing us. He laughed, a strident, soulless sound. How amusing. As you say, you won't live long enough to tell the tale. And if I fail, his eyes flashed briefly, neither will I. I pounced on this. So you're working for them. His mouth widened in the imitation of a grin. I think that's enough questions now, don't you? In one fluid motion, he lunged across the He lunged across the glade towards us. I rapidly shapeshifted to meet his attack. Shapeshifted. I can be the big one. I know, it's the big one. Because I'm fighting another monster, so I might as well become the big one. I was a werewolf. Pain hit me like a wrecking ball. Every bone in my body broke and moved and reset. I roared in agony, and I also need to sneeze, sorry. Panting and growling, I rose and rose and rose. I was an 8-foot-tall killing machine. Bless you, thank you. Bless you, thank you. Bless you, thank you. Alright, we fight him. Bless me. Thank you. Bless me. The forest seemed to slow down, the leaves tense in midair as I watched him leap towards me. His eyes were wild and crazed above his static features as his hands morphed to scything claws. I roared in exulting fury as I met his attack. Child's play. With one powerful blow, he flew backwards through the air, crashing into a tree with a rattling crunch. So, he hissed, a lock of his pristine hair falling forward as he staggered upright. It appears we are done with the charade. The charade. The charade, not the charade. With a violent crack, a long fissure tore through his face, rippling down his neck and body. The suit and flesh beneath it ripped and tore, sloughing off in oozing body chunks to reveal the monster beneath the man, a green siren. The skin of the creature was a gangrenous greenish black that appeared dry and crisp, as if that of a whale corpse left for centuries upon rotten sands. Only its eyes now remained horrifyingly human as they blinked at me. I scarcely had time to register its appearance as I roared. It was my enemy, and I would destroy it. I charged forward on all four paws in a blur of speed, throwing patches of loam into the air as my claws dug deep into Gaia. I slashed at the creature. It rose its arms to try to block, as if that would stop me. Striking down, my claws severed through watery flesh as one of its claws flew from its wrist to land in the snow. The green siren let out a screech of pain as it leaped back away from me. I could vaguely sense Pat by my side in her hispo form as she darted forward. I shoved her away. "It's all mine." As she flew back, hitting the ground with a yelp. This was my kill. I continued pummeling the green siren. It attempted to retaliate, claws desperately scratching at my sides, but I struck it again and again as a mist of green and red filled the air. Pet rushed in, opening her jaws wide as she bit down hard. The pain shocked me back to reality as, chest heaving, I stared back at what was once remained of the green siren. I shapeshifted back. Well, that was a quick fight. I shapeshifted back into my homemade form, Pat shifting as well. Pat helped to heal me. She offered me some bandages. I got my health back. What does an old whale corpse look like? Really bloated. She offered me some bandages. I took them with a thanks and began wrapping up my wounds. I stared around at the scene before me. Broken branches and patches of upheaved loam, across which were strewn with the blood, guts and cartilage of ourselves and the green siren, now reverted back to the form of the human it had stolen. We had stopped the former. Although we had stopped the former, I still felt a sense of unease thinking of the foe that yet remained. Once we cleaned up as best as we could, we left the forest behind, heading back to the cairn. The moot was about to begin, gathering of 𝒂𝒎 to discuss matters of import. The moot of Warsaw. Hurrying across the grounds, the moonlight streamed gently upon the 𝒂𝒎, who were loudly making their way into the cairn. As we entered, Luna's light illuminated the cavernous room, flowing in waves from the broken glass of the roof above to create a kaleidoscope effect on the 𝒂𝒎 who had gathered below, a charged atmosphere of frenetic anticipation in the air. Sat down. Ooh, I got an achievement to find all the evidence during your investigation. We made our way up one of the balconies, taking a seat amidst the surging crowd, the air rife with adrenaline, excited chatter, and a bit too much body odor. Ilona stepped forward, loudly calling the sept to attention as the 𝒂𝒎 quieted down. There were several other affairs to be dealt with first, but at last I heard her calling our names as Pat and I made our way down to the center of the cairn. We informed the sept of our investigation into Emmerich's murder, the former, and 𝑣𝒂𝒎 as rumbles of muttered surprise and angry exclamations came from the crowd of 𝒂𝒎. Small. While we did manage to defeat the former, it seems that Emmerich's killer is still out there, Pat explained. However, Samira and I are determined to find them. and we can promise you that they will not escape." The Garou roared their approval, the sound echoing throughout the cavernous cairn. Ilona stepped forward once more. "I think I speak for all of us when I say that you have our complete support." Pat and I exchanged relieved looks. The mood continued on into the night. Pat and I eventually slipped out early, still sore over our fight with the former. As we walked across the snowy grounds, Pat suddenly exclaimed out loud. I turned to her. "What is it?" "Remember how I told you that Granica military base sounded familiar? I just remembered where I heard it from," he said excitedly. "About a month ago, Emmerich had traveled to Purgatory, that's the first one, but this one is just the second. 𝑬𝒐𝒊𝒕� Forest. 𝑬𝒊𝒏𝒌� Forest. To meet with the Sepp there for his investigation. That's gonna be very hard to remember. Good enough. Thank you. Well, after he had returned, he'd mentioned that military base at Well, after he returned, he'd mentioned that military base at a glass worker meeting as one of the places he had gone. Her eyes gleamed with excitement. "Samira, this ties in with everything else we found. We need to go there." Before I could respond, she continued, "I'll find train tickets online for tomorrow morning and send you the link, okay?" "Whoa, slow down," I said, coming to a halt. "Why the rush? The former is dead." "Which means that whoever it is they're working for is going to know soon that we're on to them." She looked at me. "So what do you say?" Sounds good to me." I felt a surge of anxiety at the thought, but at last sighed and nodded. "Okay, let's do this." Pat grinned, fins pumping in the air. "Awesome, then I'd better get going. We've got a lot to plan before we leave." We said our goodbyes at the gate of the cairn, my steps heading back towards home. Opening the door of the apartment, I was surprised to see Khadija already standing in the living room. The overhead light shone brightly down upon her wan face, as I suddenly realized I had not seen her at the moon. Her face immediately crumpled in relief as she spotted me. "Samira, thank Gaia, I've been waiting for you." I waited for her to speak. Anxiety knotted in my chest as I waited for her to speak. She held out several letters. "I just received these. You must have had my old address because most of them were delayed." She took another deep breath as she said, "They're from Tariq," who is my brother, apparently, my older brother. "What did he say?" I asked anxiously. Khadija continued, "Something happened in Kabul. He didn't say what, probably he couldn't, but it sounded like he was no longer safe there. He said the internet had been cut off and his phone taken." Khadija took a deep breath. "He said that he had to leave." I felt my stomach drop as her voice seemed to come from far away. "Samira, he's headed to the border, to 𝑬𝒊𝒏𝒌� Forest." Clutching the letters, I eventually made my way to my room in a hazy disbelief. It felt like a cruel joke. I was glad now that I had agreed to go, yet the timing of it all felt like a cruel trick of Luna's as I shoved the curtains close and fell across my bed. The events of the day caught up to me as my eyes almost immediately closed and I fell into a deep, deep slumber. Tehran to Minsk. A journey that flew by in a flurry. The Z is written like the J in French. John. I don't know what's written there, but I feel like it's... Hello, Yamish. Welcome, Yamish. At long last, however, we neared the end of our journey, the rattling truck grinding to a screeching halt at the border of Belarus and Poland. "Get out!" the harsh voice of the truck driver yelled at us from the front. We stood up, limbs cramped and sore after the long hours sitting. My heart lifted. Now at last our hope was in sight. I stepped out, holding onto Kazim and ensuring he stayed close as we surveyed the border. Oh, this is the pass. My breath caught as I stared out over the ragged sea of faded, multicolored tents, weak fires, gaunt faces, and all of which lapped against a silver fence manned on both sides by a multitude of steely-eyed armed guards. The guard who had dropped us off started to head back towards the front of the truck as I broke out of my horrified trance. "Wait!" I called out, but he ignored me. I grabbed his arm, but he immediately shoved me away as I fell to the ground. "Get off me, filth!" He spat at me before turning back to the truck, jumping inside. I could only stare in shock as it sped away. Fine, if he would not help me, then we would just have to try the other side. Marching resolutely through the camp with 𝒂💏, I approached the border. "Hello, Sheriff Pumpkin. Welcome, Sheriff Pumpkin." The Polish border guard on the other side stared at me with a bored expression, his blue eyes flat and lifeless. "My aunt lives in Warsaw," I began, but he cut me off. Yeah, sure she does. Doesn't matter. You're not getting through." It was pointless. They clearly had no intention of letting us through as I grabbed 𝒂💏 and turned back to the camp. I felt a gentle hand on my arm as I whirled to see an older woman who shook her head at me in concern. A younger man, perhaps her son, approached me as he asked English. I nodded and he smiled in relief. "Listen, over there." He pointed at the border fence. "We do not cross." "But they promised." Check. "No one has crossed?" I asked in dismay. Glance around before lowering his voice. "Some have, but not here." The reality of our situation began to sink in as I felt the rotted hand of hopelessness caressing at my heart. A family who had traveled with us came over, telling us there was a meal being prepared in one of the small camps, but I had more to do. I turned to 𝒂💏, speaking in a low voice. "𝒂💏, I want to go check out the border for myself. Stay with them until I'm back, and if anything happens," he interrupted in a fierce tone, "I can protect myself." Unfortunately, he cannot protect himself when people are firing damn weapons, which is how he perished. I hugged him. "Goodbye." Although our 𝒊𝒏 was affectionate, we had both grown up in a culture where men and women typically did not touch each other. Despite this, I could not help myself as I pulled him into a fierce hug. I felt him stiffen, then give me a small awkward pat in return. I made sure he was safe before turning away from the crowded, dismal camp and slipping into the covering embrace of the... Okay, the Z is read like J in French. Jean. 𝒂💏💔. I don't know. I'm so bad at this. 𝒂💏💔. 𝒂💏💔. Forest. I ran through the trees, leaping over fallen logs and dodging branches, as I felt lighter than I had in a long time. The dry bark and branches of the closely knit trees lay still, a few small leaves desperately clinging to them as if in denial of the death that would inevitably come. A death that in fact came all too soon as a wind whisked among the branches, ripping off the leaves and carrying them hopelessly away from their life-giver. Breaking through the tree line at last, I stared in dismay as the afternoon sun gleamed off of a silver barbed wire fencing that stretched endlessly as far as the eye could see. They didn't do a good job with the translation. Are you talking about how to pronounce it? It's okay. I guess they tried their best. I cautiously approached, searching for any way across, when I noticed to my surprise the barbed wire beginning to unravel. The silver wires parted and uncoiled, spreading their arms open wide as if inviting me through. I hesitated. I took a step, then hesitated. Something felt off. I felt helpless. I wanted to stop, but my body continued moving as though compelled as I passed through, like a splash of water washing away a painting. The sunlit trees and autumnal forest on the other side of the fencing disappeared, replaced by a scene from Jahannam. Jahannam is the Islamic place of punishment in the afterlife.
The heavy darkness overhead was illuminated only by the fiery hellscape below that stretched like the ocean. A marshland of boiling, turbulent blood with black twisted roots and what looked like gleaming white bones that bobbed on top of the roiling, bubbling surface. White bones that reached out to me, beckoning me close as a frenetic, mocking laugh echoed throughout the glowing volcanic steam. I needed to run! In a panic, I turned to flee, but the marshland grabbed eagerly at my feet as I felt myself start to sink. I gathered my strength. Oh, a lot of rage now. I pulled from the reserves of my strength as a fury flowed through me. Wrenching my feet from the oozing marshland, I ran, gasping for air, until I found myself once more within the forest. A glow of warm light slowly materialized as the last of the blood and bones faded away. You are coming back. I could not tell if it was a statement or a question, but I nodded, wondering how I could go back when I had never left, and yet knowing this was true. I both feared and wished for this, the spirit whispered. This border does not want you, but nevertheless you are needed. Why am I needed? I asked in confusion. I am just trying to cross the border. It regarded me steadily. You will know when you return. The glow faded until all that was left was the forest once more, the crisp autumnal wind whistling across the unnatural, barren plain. I returned to the camp, filled with determination. I finished chapter 3 apparently. We would leave tonight. We would cross the border to a new life, escape the war we had fled. Safety. Not for Kazim, though. You stole a keycard to enter 50%. You discovered weapons manufacturing 100%. You didn't defeat the scribe 42%. Determination. You are filled with determination. Chapter 4. The Return. Start a check. The journey begins. There was no sunrise today as I stared through morning blurred eyes out the window at the Polish wilderness, a dim, snow-blanketed landscape that was dotted with black pine trees and unlit houses that framed for a second in my view, then hurtled on by. I stretched for a moment, stifling a yawn. The rest of last night had passed peacefully. Whether it was the spirit or just having a full night's rest, I had woken up feeling ready to take on anything. Pat sat next to me, eyes closed and headphones on. Despite the music, I could faintly hear. She seemed to be passed out as a gentle snore emanated from underneath her black hood. Thoughts of the mood passed through my mind. I felt elated once more as I considered our success at the mood last night and the Garou who would stand by our side. I tugged absent-mindedly at my mask. I had made a fake ID and papers after arriving here, but nevertheless still felt uneasy about my obviously non-Polish features as we neared the border. Looking around, I noticed with surprise that the rest of the train car was empty. I suppose not many people were too eager to travel to the border with everything that was going on. It was nice not to have to worry about Polish people staring at me for one, especially considering where we were going. Rifling through my pack, I was searching for my own headphones to distract me from my thoughts when I felt the touch of paper against my hand. I quietly pulled out Tariq's letters that Khadija had handed over to me this morning. She wanted to come with, but between an urgent work deadline and a worm spirit she had been chasing, had been forced to stay in Warsaw. The work she had said could sort off, but if the worm spirit was not dealt with, it could mean more deaths. I had been disappointed. But I understood and had assured her I would resolve things and bring Tariq home safely. As I reread through the letters, I felt an intense wave of homesickness hit me once more. He told me about his journey, of how he planned to leave soon, taking a similar route to me, that this may be his last letter before reaching Poland. I leaned back in my seat as I closed my eyes and sighed. We had been close as children but had drifted apart in recent years. While he had initially been wary of the Garou, seeing them as Iblis, an evil spirit or demon, I had thought that he had come around eventually. When he turned 18, however, he had immediately left to study at Kabul University and had remained there ever since. working as a lawyer. He had been successful in his field until the Taliban's takeover. One of the Taliban's first moves had been to merge the Afghanistan Independent Bar Association with the Taliban-run Ministry of Justice. Effectively, that meant Afghanistan now lacked an independent body to govern lawyers, leading to licenses being revoked and intimidation and imprisonment of those who did not follow Taliban ways. Tariq had heard that he may be next and had been forced to flee. You know what that is, Meow Meow? I put down the letters with a sigh, my stomach twisting at the thought of meeting him again in person. We had only spoken once since the border, when I had to call to tell him what had happened. Perhaps he blamed me. It was hard to tell. Regardless, after that night we had not spoken to each other. Those are from Tariq. I turned to see Pat looking at headphones now around her neck. She nodded at the letters in my hand. E. I said, wondering if she wanted to read them. She asked about them. Would you like to talk about it? She asked gently. If you don't want to, though, don't worry about it. I'm nervous about seeing him again. I'm fine. To be honest, I'm worried about seeing him again. The last time we spoke was when I had to tell him about what happened. Ah, Pat said with a grimace. Sorry, that's rough. I nodded my thanks. Then, wanting desperately to change the subject, I asked, so, 𝑬𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒎 Forest. You lived there, right? Yeah, I lived there for a few years, Pat responded. I don't suppose you heard about what happened there with the logging. I hadn't. I shook my head no, and she explained. 𝑬𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒎𝒆𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂 Okay, do you already do that? Pushka. Oh wait, couldn't I just Google this? Couldn't I just Google this? Wait. Wait, how do you say it? 𝑬𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒎𝒆𝒂. Okay. Google Translate. No, I'm not a bot. Why would I be a bot Googling this? Okay. Right. Let's see. No wait, that's English. Whoops. 𝒂𝒐𝒏𝒂𝒎𝒆𝒂𝒂. 𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒎𝒂𝒂. Is that better? I'm gonna have to alt tab and press that every time. Yep. Yay! Okay, wait. I shook my head no and she explained. 𝒂𝒐𝒏𝒂𝒎𝒂𝒂 is an ancient forest. You 𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒂 now? Just 𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒂 on its own. Okay, wait. Oh wait, not that. Wait, Polish. 𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒂. Oh wait, do with a Z? Okay, wait. 𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒑. So Pushka 𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒑. So it should be 𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒑, not 𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒂. Is that it? Pushka 𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒑. 𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒑. Okay. 𝒂𝒊𝒕� is an ancient forest, and as you know, a place of great spiritual power. It depends on context. I see. Despite that, the government and loggers were trying to cut large parts of it down. We had organized protests to defend it. Then out of nowhere, Maya is a Polish-American woman who came to 𝒂𝒊𝒕𔒒 several years earlier, where she learned of her identity as a Garou. Showed up in the middle of it all. Thankfully, our efforts were a success and the government was forced to halt the logging. After that, Maya eventually ended up staying with us. But even though we saved the forest, things just seemed to get more and more tense within the 𝒓𝒄, especially with the border crisis. How did it affect the 𝒓𝒄? I asked curiously. The wall is tearing apart the forest, Pat explained, destroying trees and wildlife habits we were doing our best to protect, including separating wolf tribes from one another. That's awful, I shook my head. And what about the refugees? Pat looked uncomfortable and began fidgeting with her headphones. Some are more focused on saving the wildlife and the forest, while others think we should aid the refugees first. So we're going to have some issues convincing them. I asked dryly. Pat tilted her head contemplatively. Yes and no. Some are already helping the refugees get through the forest, but if we're going to convince all of them, she shrugged helplessly. That depends. You mentioned Emmerich had visited there, though. Did she say anything about them? Murder on especially looks like magic, but hello! Wait, is that Aiden? Is that Aiden? It is Aiden! Welcome, Aiden! Oh, other than giving us a brief rundown of where he'd been, which included the 𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒎 cairn, he didn't say too much about the 𝒓𝒄 itself. The only thing I noticed is that after his investigation, 𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒎 is still last of Europe's first untouched. I see. So I guess it makes sense that they want to protect it. The only thing I noticed is that after his investigation, he seemed even more serious and driven than usual, something I didn't even think was possible. He half smiled in reminiscence, before it faded. Whatever he had seen there on the border, I could tell it really haunted him. I knew exactly what he had seen there on the border, for it was the same scenes that haunted my nights. We lapsed into silence. Pat placed her headphones back on, humming tunelessly as she scrolled through her phone. Turning to look back out the window, I shivered as I stared out across the frigid landscape. I felt grateful to be inside the heated train as we raced towards... 1 second. 𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒎. Yeah, 𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒎, thank you. I felt grateful to be inside the train as we raced towards 𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒎 on the border. It was a small Polish town. It was a small town near the border with Belarus, where several aid organizations had set up stations to aid refugees crossing over. The landscape blurred as my thoughts grew quieter and quieter. I felt my eyelids growing heavy as the rhythmic rumbling of the train gently soothed me to sleep. Wake up, Samira. My eyes flew open and I instantly became alert at the note of quiet warning in Pat's voice. We've got company. I rapidly sat up and stared over the seats to see an old woman standing at the end of our car. Despite her cardigan, I immediately knew this was no ordinary 𝒏𝒂𝒎. She regarded us with a grandmotherly smile that did not match the deadness of her eyes. My master is not pleased with you. Her tone was gentle with a hint of elderly reproval as she belied her words. However, they have graciously decided to give you one last chance. You may disembark at the next station and forget about all this, or... She paused, giving a sweet smile. I can deal with you here. God, this lady creeped me out. Guess we're not fudging leaving. I snapped, Pat concurring loudly by my side. She did not seem at all put out by our answers, and she continued to smile gently. The door opened. Suddenly the door opened and I tensed, ready to leap forward and save whatever unsuspecting passenger had wandered into this odd scene. Unfortunately, the reality was not much better as an older man shuffled over to stand next to the woman. My master saw you too. Grey Masses. The mysterious Bane sent 2 Grey Masses to stop you on your journey to the border. My master saw you too, you see. They knew that one would not be enough, so they sent another. I groaned inwardly as I realized the scryer from yesterday must have told whoever this mysterious master was. She gave the man a look of disgust. Not that I would ever disagree with them, but in this case it seemed unnecessary. Her lips curled into an unsettling smile, for you cannot stand against what you cannot see. She lifted a withered, wrinkled hand. The fabric of the chair in front of her began rippling as if trying to escape her touch, its surface dissolving into desiccated ash. Pat and I immediately backed to the center, staring in horror as the destruction spread until all the chairs had been disintegrated, and only a gutted-out train car remained. The woman lowered her hand and started to cough. Pat immediately backed up even further, placing a warning hand on my arm. Do not let her touch you. I'm pretty sure she's a Grey Mass. They attached to diseased hosts. These Banes found hosts that were already diseased and attached themselves to them. If we can't touch her, then how can we fight her? I muttered as we tried to put some more space between us and her. If you've got a weapon or some form of protection, now is the time to use it, Pat said grimly before she shapeshifted. I shapeshifted. Well, I can't be the big one. I don't think there's any point being the wolf because we can't touch her, so having expendable thumbs will be good. My muscles spasmed and rearranged themselves. My jaw cracked and my mouth filled with blood. I clenched my fists and claws drove into my palms. Panting fiercely, I changed. I was more than human. Wolfish. Strong, terrifying. I shapeshifted, Pat as a glabro by my side. A clave, a ritual dagger made of silver, with a black blade gripped in her clawed hand. I would fight without an item. I do not have a weapon, but why couldn't I just pick up like a pipe or something, you know? We growled at them, but they merely continued staring at us with their dead eyes as if we had not shapeshifted at all. I waited, unsure of what to do. Pat coordinated with me. Pat held up her clave, muttering out of the side of the mouth to me. I'll attack her with my clave, you get the man. I nodded before darting forward, crossing the train car in one massive leap and slashing down on the man. He tried to move out of the way, but he was too slow as my claws dug deep into his arm. Thick gray blood oozing from the wound. My lungs began burning. As I clutched my chest, I heard the voice of the old lady as she spoke in a gentle tone. Oh dear, looks like you two have caught a cold. I attacked her. I felt a rush of fury as I pivoted towards her. I lashed out with a hacking cough, but a hacking cough caused my swing to miss. I felt a sharp pain. I'm gonna die. A sudden sharp pain made me gasp. Twisting, I saw the old man gripping my arm as a grayish-black bruise spread forth from his touch. My vision turned red as I shoved him off of me. This time, I delivered a killing blow, piercing deep into his heart. Wrenching my claws free in a spray of gray sludge, I tossed his dead body to the side. A sudden blast of frigidly cold air assailed the train car. I turned to look. I turned to where it was coming from and saw the old woman with her hand upon the wall. An enormous gash melted away from where she had touched it. Her quavering voice carried on the wind. It's your stop, dearies. Even the Polish grandma says dearies. We backed up away from the gash, but she was already rushing towards us. She attempted to grab me. She clutched at me with gnarled hands, but I jumped back just in time. I leapt at her, but the grey mass sidestepped out of the way, and with a powerful shove that belied her appearance, I felt myself flying towards the gash in the train. I ran to help, knocking me out of the way in the nick of time. Fudge this! Anger rose within me as I leapt for the grey mass, slashing down deep into her. She let out a hoarse, gurgling cry as she stumbled back. "That wasn't very kind of you, dear," the old woman murmured as she slumped to the floor, a puddle of sludgy grey blood oozing from beneath her body. The howling of the wind resumed with a fury as I caught my breath. Straightening, I stared around at the devastation, wondering how exactly we were going to explain away the missing seats and an enormous gash in the train, not to mention the dead bodies. The Banes who had inhabited the Fomori would have already escaped to the Umbra, leaving behind nothing but the body of those who had inhabited. I felt no pity. Inadvertently or unintentionally, they had allowed the Banes to inhabit their bodies. Pat leaned down towards the body of the old woman. I was wondering if she was going to say something, perhaps some sort of benediction, but when she grabbed the old woman's arm and tossed her through the gash. "I suppose that worked too." I grabbed the other one. I grabbed the other grey mass, heaving it over the side of the train before shifting back to my helmet phone. The fight was over. Pat began to heal herself while I took stock of my own health. I needed to heal myself. I bandaged my wounds as best I could. There was not much I could do. For now, I simply attempted to bandage my wounds up as best I could. Pat and I swiftly left the car and walked until we reached the far end of the train. Settling in some unoccupied seats, I immediately went online to change the seat numbers on our tickets, just in case they checked. Meanwhile, Pat worked her magic on the cameras, erasing all traces of our presence. Aside from some confused and worried-looking attendants rushing by, the rest of our train journey was uneventful. We finally arrived at... One sec. One sec. Okay, let's see. Białystok. Thank you. Pat and I skirted around worried-looking security guards that rushed to and from the destroyed car before heading to the bus station to get our connection to 𝑳𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔. An hour later, we disembarked and began making our way to the town center to meet Maya. Snow coated every inch of the grassy knolls, a white layer that arched up and over the orange and blue and brown houses with their enormous fence-in lawns as we slowly trod along the icy paths. The roads of 𝑳𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔 were peaceful, and despite the day hours, fairly empty, with most of its citizens presumably out at school or work. Small towns were bad. Nah, I don't like small towns. But I think she would like small towns. So I was... Oh wait, but she's a tech girl. Okay, maybe she doesn't like small towns. Although I had grown up amidst a small village, smaller even than here, I only truly felt at home in the largest city of Warsaw. Most glasswalkers agreed. Most glasswalkers preferred the cities where technology was king. Pat had already messaged Maya, who had planned to meet us at a local restaurant. I had suggested a coffee shop, but to my dismay, it appeared those were few and far between out here. As we walked, I noticed multiple sky blue posters with a heart held in a pair of hands, and information in English and Polish saying, "Help point. If you need help, call XS," followed by a number. I was surprised to see them. I had expected most people here to resent the refugees, but I was happy to see the opposite. We had just turned the corner of the street when we heard a commotion coming from up ahead. The noise grew louder as we approached a large, or 𝑳𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔 at least, hand brick building with a dark tiled roof and a cheerful green fencing surrounding it all. A cheerfulness that looked much too incongruous with the grim-faced crowd that covered in front of it. A group of citizens faced off against several trucks filled with border guards, and a group of scared-looking refugees huddled behind them. Tariq! My brother! I needed to see if Tariq was there as I raced forward. I reached a hand up to ensure my mask was still on as I scanned the refugees. letting out a sigh of relief as I saw 𝒔𝒆 was not amongst them. "Let them go!" I heard a woman shout next to me as the crowd began yelling at the border guards. The guard nearest the crowd gripped his gun as his jaw said stubbornly, "They are criminals. They are here illegally. We are just following the law." I'm gonna look at the guards. I scanned the guards to see if any of them looked familiar. Keep looking. I forced myself to keep looking, and to my horror I did recognize one of them, the guard I had spoken to on the border those many months ago. He seemed preoccupied and quickly turned away from him, ducking down into the crowd to avoid his notice. I highly doubt that he'll recognize you, but okay. The crowd began shouting once more for the refugees to be freed. Another guard stepped forward. "Look," he said exasperately. "These people have not applied for refugee status, therefore they cannot stay here. We are simply doing our job and returning them back to the border where they came from." At this, the crowd became even more agitated, but the guards now just ignored them and started shoving the refugees into the trucks. The rest formed a sprawling barrier against us with their guns. I don't think I could do anything here. We're here for a mission. There was nothing we could do but watch helplessly as the refugees were loaded into the truck. Why did we even come here? I felt an overwhelming sense of futility. Why had we even come here if we could not even save one small group of people? We watched helplessly as the refugees were loaded into the truck. I finally glimpsed a boy with dark, frightened eyes that stared out from the back before the door slammed shut and the truck began its grim journey back to the border. Pat and I mingled amongst the crowd, listening to the low murmurs of shock and disbelief at what had just happened. And up to the journalists. They like to blab. A woman with green fox-like eyes approached us with a recording device. "𝒂𝒐𝒆 Press, would you mind saying a few words about the events that took place here today?" I'm a signal to Pat. Pat can talk. I surreptitiously signaled to Pat, who stepped in. "I can answer your questions if you don't answering some of mine." The woman readily agreed and began plying Pat with questions. After several rounds of questioning, the lady scribbled a few notes down, then closed her notebook with a snap, looking satisfied. "Now what did you want to ask me?" I thought quickly. "Have you been to the border?" I asked curiously. She nodded. "Yeah, I was there back before the ban. The ban had been on the news." I had heard about it on the news. Once they started building the wall, they had immediately banned all journalists and NGO workers from approaching. "What did you think of the border situation?" I asked. She shook her head, suddenly serious. "Pretty damn grim, if you ask me. Never seen anything like it. And I heard it's only gotten worse with this new wall. It's not gonna stop them, of course, just make them more and more desperate. And when people get desperate, they get hurt. Or worse." We spoke further of the border crisis before I turned the conversation to our investigation. Been to the military base? "I don't suppose you know anything about Granica military base?" I asked, trying to be casual, but my eyes immediately narrowed as she tilted her head. "I might. What do you want to know?" Trying to sound nonchalant, I responded, "I just heard some rumors about it recently." She hesitated, glancing around before lowering her voice. "Okay, listen, you didn't hear it from me, but there's been some stuff going on there. Preparations they've been making for something big." She gave me a sharp look. "But let's just say the last person who tried to learn more about it didn't come back out." She glanced at her phone. "I'd love to stay and chat, but I need to interview some more people to get this out in time. Talk to you later, kid." Her eyes hovered on my face above my mask. Check care out there. A middle-aged man turned to Pat and said irritably to her in Polish, "You young folks will probably disagree, but I think those guys are doing the right thing." His wife hit him indignantly on the arm, but he just shrugged. "My wife disagrees with me, but those people should just go back to their homes. Instead, they come here to our country looking for handouts." I can't say anything because I'm also an immigrant, so if I say something, they'll just make an example. I held my tongue as Pat spoke up, saying in a deceptively mild tone, "What makes you think that?" "Listen, my buddy is in the border guard. He was telling me of what some of these people get up to. They say they're sick, and then when the ambulance is called, well, turns out they're actually fine. And they've even gone so far as to throw away their own children's socks and shoes just to get pity from us. He shook his head. Some people just want a free ride, and who's gonna pay for that, huh? Honest, hardworking citizens like us who have earned our money. Oh, he just crazy. Those people are fleeing wars, and the only reason they came here was because Belarus lied to them. I could see my words made no difference as he just shrugged and turned away. What would he know? What the hell would he know? He had lived in his entire life in his comfortable little home, in his comfortable little town. He would never understand what we had gone through. I would wait and talk to someone else, I guess. I debated who to speak to next when I heard someone approach. I heard you asking about Granica military base. I whirled, worried it may be a god, but finding instead a young woman around Khadijah's age. Are you a journalist? She asked shortly. No, I know someone who is. I searched for the journalist in the crowd but could not find her. The woman spoke quickly. I don't have time, but can you pass this on to her? I nodded and she looked relieved. Lowering her voice, she said, I work for, well, let's just say, someone that knows what's going on. There's something happening, something on the border, I think. She paused, looking worried. I think they're going to make an example of the refugees. I leaned in, my heart beating fast. When is this happening? Not tonight. Maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure, but soon. A guard walked by and she started. I need to go. Just make sure this gets out. It needs to be stopped. Before I could ask more, she had already hurried away. I went to find Pat when a guard walked in front of my path. He looked familiar. I immediately recognized the guard from the border and quickly turned my head. Walking swiftly away, I spotted Pat and ran up to her. We need to leave, now. She looked surprised, but followed me as we left the crowd behind. I got an achievement for avoiding the guard. We met up with Maya on the outskirts of town. She looked almost the same as when I had last seen her in November. Although I could see weary lines etched around the corner of her eyes that had not been there before. After explanations of what had just happened, we left 𝑳𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔 behind, entering the shadowed woods of... Okay, one sec. Listen to it again. 𝑬𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔 forest. We headed deeper and deeper into the forest, Maya navigating through the dense foliage until we had reached a hidden trail. Maya turns to me while we walked. Pat's already told me about Emmerich. A brief expression of pain crossed her face before she schooled her features. And your investigation. You know Emmerich well? I asked. She shook her head. Only for the time I was here, but we spoke quite a lot and I could tell he really cared for the refugees. A look of fury burned in her eyes. He didn't deserve to die like that. So whatever you need, I promise I'll help, she said fiercely. Thanks, Maya, I said gratefully. Our little Maya's all grown up now, Pat said jokingly. Maya rolled her eyes, a grin spreading across her face. We continued walking through the woods. After a moment, Pat said slowly, I'm wondering though, how does the rest of the set feel about this? Ah, Maya grimaced. That's going to be a bit more difficult. When Emmerich was here, the set refused to get involved, but it may be different now. I remember what Pat had told me, that the... How to pronounce it already. 𝑬𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔 had been split on whether to help the creatures of the forest or the refugees. I'll do what I can, Maya continued, but I hope you have some good hard evidence on your side. Maya and Pat continued discussing it, but I felt my steps lagging behind as my mind endlessly replayed the events of the past few days. Warsaw now felt like a hazy, surreal dream, while here, amidst the suffering of my people, was a true reality. Good morning, Poundenstem. Good morning. You're gonna get honorary Slav title. I'm gonna become Polish just for reading a visual novel. It was as if the events of 𝑚ichałowo had submerged me in frozen waters and spat me up upon the shore, gasping for air once more. I felt it overwhelm me, reminding me of my own powerlessness. It was hopeless. We continued onwards toward the forest, the shadows lengthening as the afternoon gently slipped on its evening garb. Yet, try as I might, my mind kept returning to the refugees from earlier. The events replayed in my mind. I should have saved them. Did what I could. I shook the thought from my head as I reminded myself I did what was necessary. We would return to the border, and then we would save them all. As evening emptied the sky of light, the frosted branches above stood out starkly in the final sunset rays, their hands clasped with their brethren to form mosaic walls of snow and wood that stretched up high to the heavens. The forest seemed unsure of me. The wind rustled as the branches rattled, unclasping and clasping their hands. I could sense a confusion from the forest, as if it was unsure what to think of me. I will save them. Unbidden, I whispered my vow to the forest, and the branches relaxed, clasping their hands as if in thanks. I felt healthier. I felt the forest envelop itself around me like an encompassing warm shawl as a soothing wave washed over me. I felt the cairn before I even arrived, a buzzing in the air, a place of power that drew me in as much as it repulsed me. I embraced it. I braced the feeling as the buzzing increased to a horrible, rattling jolt, and then it settled, as if it had accepted my act of courage. We entered a snowy clearing, and the source of the cairn became apparent. Before us rested a pile of ancient, broken stones, surrounded by a circlet of withered old trees. Despite the snowfall, the stones remained untouched. The dark, jagged rocks stuck against their surroundings. It didn't look like much. I felt a bit disappointed, expecting something like the towering Colosseum of Warsaw. Instead, it was just a broken pile of stones. As I got closer, however, a resonant power, an ancient power, pulsed forth, and I sensed a bitter, vengeful rage. As I stepped forward with Maya and Pat, wolves and 𝒂𝒎 in their hominid forms materialized from amidst the shadows of the trees to face us in a half-moon shape. I scanned their faces, picking up on the many emotions that flitted across their features. Wariness. The vast majority seemed wary of us, wary of me as they waited in chilled silence. Maya took a step forward, her voice rising as she indicated Pat and I. Many of you know Samira from the incident last November. Pat and her have come here to investigate the death of Emery, who many of us met when he visited. She stepped back again, motioning for us to speak. We told them what we had learned. Pat and I conveyed what we had told the Warsaw Sept. I could tell from the growls that this Sept was equally as shocked as the Warsaw one had been. After several rounds of further questioning, the 𝒂𝒎 left to confer, while Pat and I waited anxiously. At last they returned, Maya stepping forward with relief etched on her face. Hold on. 𝒂𝒊𝒕𝒔, Sept, believes that the threat is as serious as you say. We are on your side completely. The meeting ended shortly after that. Pat left to reconnect with the other 𝒂𝒎, mingling with old friends. I spoke with a few, but for the most part remained by the fire with Maya and another 𝒂𝒎 named Kim. A non-binary activist from Berlin, old with deep wrinkles around mouth, a retired heroin-preserved rock band. Okay? As the night wore on, the 𝒂𝒎 at last dispersed while Pat and I made sleeping arrangements. I'ma sleep as wolves! Pat and I shapeshifted to our lupus forms and joined Daniel, Kim, and several of the other wolves huddling together in a warm pile. It felt right. But we got that dog in us. As I stared up at the stars with my wolfkin huddled against me, for the first time since Afghanistan, I felt a sense of home. With the strength of the wolves, I felt encouraged, ready for tomorrow as my eyes closed and I fell into a deep, deep slumber. Sunlit rays streamed in through my hut as I woke to the sound of the rushing waters of the had passed since we had arrived here in this strange village. At first I had found their ways strange and we had struggled to adjust. The way women brazenly and openly spoke to the men, the foreigners who visited for days or weeks or years who spoke in strange languages. Most of all, that they were wolf folk and that I was too. When they had told us that, Tariq had instantly told me we were leaving, telling me that they were insane people, but I had persuaded him to stay. I had seen them as a wolf. I had told them that I had seen them changing into a wolf. That had scared him even more, especially when I said that that would happen to me too. It was only when I told him stubbornly that I would not leave that he had at last given in. A year passed, and then too, and I had found myself enjoying this new life amidst the valley of mulberries, fruit trees, and rusting tanks. Electricity! Technology! Our village had electricity. I was not sure how, but sometimes I could swear I saw faces in the lights. Yet despite what the other Garou told me, I remained a human. I began to grow increasingly anxious. What if they were wrong? What if I never turned into a Garou? What if they made us leave? 𝑳𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔. I at last had confided my fears to Khadija. She had seemed like she wanted to smile, but she instead just said, "You will be a Garou. Trust me." Seeing my fears were not abated, she said, "Don't worry, Samir. Even if your changes later, they won't kick you out. You're here to stay." She grinned at me. Even grumpy old Tariq is welcome to stay as long as he wants. Each day the anxiety grew, keeping me awake at night. One such night, I had finally managed to fall into a restless sleep when my eyes flew open. "Come to me." Without a second thought, I instantly responded to the call, silently leaving the hut where I slept with the other girls. The moon shone brightly overhead, and I turned my gaze up at it. A new moon. I felt a sense of mischief fill me at the sight of the new moon. Walking as if in a trance, I slipped out of our 𝒊𝒏𝒄 village towards the rocky shores, wading across the shallow waters of Panjshir River as her surface sparkled in the moonlight. Reaching the other side, I immediately buckled to the ground and let out a cry, a knife-sharp pain rippling through my body, the first change. My body dropped to the ground, and I felt bones breaking and fur sprouting as my fingers elongated to claws ready to tear and kill. I grew taller, larger, stronger. I was a wolf, more than a wolf. The power surged through me, and I let out a mighty howl into the night sky, Luna and Gaia rejoicing as I felt the rage flow through me. "Samira?" A small, scared voice broke through my inner exultations as I snapped my wolf head to see Kazim standing on the opposite shore, his gleaming fear apparent even from here. Fear, delicious fear that intoxicated like a drug, as my eyes glinted at the prey that stood before me. I howled at them. Once more, and then the hunt was on. I leapt across the river, landing in front of him as he cowered before me, a rabbit for the taking. I lifted my paw, ready to strike. My claws came down upon air, and I stumbled forward. I stared in shock at the pleasant scene that now lay before me. A crisp summer air wafting through the moss-covered trees. The moss lazily crept up and around the branches, grasping at the leaves as they turned a bright, flaming orange, falling to the ground, trapped in ice. Ice that spread its tendrils outwards, holding the ground as it reached the crimson-splattered body at its center, a body that sat up now, slowly rising from the ground to walk towards me. "Tried to kill me," it whispered. Didn't speak at first, but a hazy memory rose in my mind. "No, Khadija stopped me. You were safe." He opened his mouth to respond, but I did not want to hear it as I pelted into the forest. I would not hear, but the words drifted through my mind all the same, and I finished chapter 4. That was fast. Drink my milk. You didn't save the refugees 90%. Oh geez, poor refugees. It just seemed like the most logical choice. Because we are there for like more business, so it doesn't make sense to like mess around. Chapter 5, Revelations. Crystallized droplets of ice. Oh, hello, 𝒊𝒂𝒄. Welcome, 𝒊𝒂𝒄. Crystallized droplets of ice hung from the snow-laden tree branches of the speckled birch trees. The melting of the late winter now temporarily suspended in the frigid temperatures of the early morning. The presence of the wolves had revived me. Despite the chill, I felt healthier, stronger, revived to take on the day. Pat and I planned to meet with Maya at the cairn, but she was delayed. We waited in drowsy silence, the chill wind sweeping across the open clearing causing me to shiver. 𝒂𝒎 military base was our top priority. Is it one of those text-based games? It is! We might be on the final chapter. I think, but wait, there might be another chapter. Not entirely sure. Ted and I both agreed that we needed to check out 𝒂𝒎 military base. However, I still felt uneasy about Tariq and planned to ask Maya and... Hold on. 𝒂𝒎𝒒𝒔 to search along the border for him. I felt a pang of guilt at the thought. Drawing out my phone, I scrolled through the information I had prepared, research on 𝒂𝒎 military base. The 𝒂𝒎𝒒𝒔 had provided several photos of 𝒂𝒎 military base, allowing me to analyze the security system. There was the now stereotypical barbed wire top fence. This one was dotted with security cameras and sensors, presumably designed to set off an alarm if anyone tried to enter. Choices depend on how courage that of Yeah! Thank you for explaining, 𝒂𝒐. Suddenly my phone began to vibrate, a call popping up on the screen as my ringtone echoed throughout the open clearing. Ringtone. I'ma just close my eyes quick. There, click. Awalin Ishkan by Ahmad Zahir, a traditional Afghan singer. A bittersweet nostalgia filled me at the sound. Glancing down, I saw Khadijah's name appear on the screen and I quickly swiped to answer the call. Hey, I was instantly cut off as Khadijah's urgent voice sounded in my ear. Samira, Tariq just called. Maybe I should try making one of these in the future. I mean, it should be easier to code, but you'll need a lot of planning and writing. Why didn't he call me? Before I could think, the question had slipped out. He probably didn't have your number. Khadijah answered gently. Oh, I felt a bit stupid. She continued speaking. He's at the border right now. He got there yesterday. He said conditions are pretty terrible, especially with it being winter. He also mentioned something about crossing the border. My stomach instantly tightened into knots. When? He didn't know the exact time, but he said definitely not tonight. Khadijah continued. I mentioned you were at the border and he told me to have you call him. I felt anxious, but inwardly pleased that he wanted help. I tapped his number into my phone before we exchanged goodbyes. Khadijah making me promise to stay safe. I entered Tariq's number, preparing to call. Press the call button. Taking a deep breath, I pressed the call button. It rang for several moments, then a strange man's voice answered. Hello? Hey, sorry, I'm calling for Tariq. There was the sound of muffled speaking and then Tariq's low voice sounded on the phone. Hello, Khadijah? It's Samira. Sounded relieved. Mashallah. Samira, how are you? Khadijah said you're on the border. What are you doing there? Might be a good chance to reinforce my English. I mean, all languages, you need to practice it or you get rusty. I heard you were here, I responded, relief flooding my heart. Are you okay? How were your travels? Terry quickly cut him. I'm fine, Samir, but don't worry about me. Why are you back at the border? I'm here with some friends for something else, but we can help you get across. Tariq sounded skeptical. Are you sure? Things are different from when you were here before. His tone turned grim. You haven't seen the wall. Trust me, I said firmly. I can help. One way or another. I'll get you across. Actually, why wait? Let's meet now. I can get you across so we can go through the marshlands. Tariq interrupted me. That won't work, Samir. There's something going on here. I can't say too much, but the guards on our side are pushing for us to go across. I'm not sure when, not today or at least, but apparently a large group is going to attempt a crossing with their help. There's something happening here as well. That's my mother language. Well, for me, It's kind of. I speak like 3 languages. Tagalog. Oh, Schmeckle speaks Tagalog. That's neat. I'm so bad at it. I don't even understand my family. I see. But I guess mother language would. You're supposed to be born. I don't know. Even though my parents speak like Chinese and English. Anyway, I quickly agreed and we made plans to meet up at the fence around a kilometer north of camp. I hung up feeling a chaotic mix of. Oh, wait. There's something going on this side as well, I said grimly, telling him what I learned. Tariq exhaled heavily. Listen, Samir, I'm worried for these people. There's way too many guys on both sides. Can you meet me tonight? We can discuss it further. Okay, we made up. We made plans. Leave. Relief. Relief that he was safe, for now at least. What did he say? Pat asked, coming up beside me. He said a bunch of them are going to attempt to cross through the marshlands, but it looks like there's a bunch of guards gathering on both sides. We're meeting tonight to discuss it more. Then we definitely need to head to the base first and figure out what the hell is going on. A crunching of snow made us turn to see Maya enter the cairn. Good, Gaia. I hate mornings, she said, stifling a yawn as she joined us.
Hello! Welcome, TA. Good morning.
And they're not so bad, Pat said with a shrug. Maya jokingly punched her on the arm. Says the one who usually sleeps past 11, which is technically still morning, Pat protested laughingly. Maya grinned and shook her head, then began rummaging through her pack. Pulling out 2 pieces of clothing, she tossed them at us. I caught one in midair, my heart skipping a beat as I recognized it. They're uniforms that we took from the soldiers, Maya explained. If we're going into the base, we need to make sure we don't stick out. But you're coming with us, I said in surprise. Maya looked taken aback. Yeah, why wouldn't I? We'd love to have you. Sorry, I thought you were just guiding us there. Of course we'd love to have you, I said, instantly relieved at the thought of having another companion join us. We were starting off when a pinprick of claws dug into my leg. Startled, I tried to shake it off, but it had already scurried up my back and I felt a heavy weight settling upon my shoulder. Craning my neck so fast I felt a twinge. I stared at the interloper, a sleek white weasel who returned my glance boldly. Its fur was near identical to the snow around us, which is undoubtedly why we had not seen it approach. It tilted its head, staring back at me with small, adorable black eyes. Adorable, that is, until it grinned, baring its mouth to reveal viciously pointed teeth. Are you gonna play Little Nightmares 3 DLC? I think I'll wait for sale, because it doesn't look the base game wasn't really worth it, I feel. So I'll probably wait for a sale. So, not as soon as it comes out. It spoke. It spoke in a strangely electronic voice, like an AI reading of a text. Welcome, children of Gaia. Hello, Winter Weasel, Pat said respectfully as the weasel turned its gaze to her. You haven't been around much, Electric Beetle. Pat muttered something and the weasel giggled. Maya also seemed familiar with it. As she crossed her arms, what brings you here today, Winter Weasel? The weasel grabbed onto my ear with its tiny claws and I shuddered, resisting the urge to toss it from my shoulder. I have heard through the spirits that you have come seeking the murderer of the Glasswalker. Yes, did you know him? I asked eagerly. It pinched my ear as it tittered. Knowing, not knowing, who can really say? Oh my god. Pat interjected, but you had met Emmerich. The winter weasel turned its gaze to her. Yes, the Glasswalker had visited here before, but that is not important. Its voice held a faint hint of reproach. Its black eyes glinted as it spoke once more. Yesterday, I sensed the blood of the Glasswalker here amidst our... Okay, hold on. What's it? Push. Give one sec. Pusha Werewolf. So the former who killed him was here, Pat exclaimed. Where? I asked quickly. Its claws pinched my ear as it giggled. I just told you, the forest. Are you kidding me? I swear to Gaia, I was a second away from strangling this damn weasel. Perhaps Pat had noticed as she quickly intercepted. Thank you for the information, Winter Weasel. The weasel wrapped its white tail around my neck as it waved an arm northeast. The blood I sensed came from over there, near the fortress with the guns. 𝑬𝒐𝒂𝒎 military base. I said grimly as Pat and I exchanged a look. Perhaps, the weasel responded in a bored tone. I don't keep track of human affairs. Pat and Maya began discussing what the winter weasel had told us, but I felt a familiar feeling of panic rising within me as my mind tossed over this new information. 2 small paws rested upon my hair as the winter weasel gently put its weight upon my head, a faint energy emanating from the spirit. An aura of hope that dispelled some of the worries that had gathered. Then the energy faded. The winter weasel's quiet voice whispered in my ear. Listen, young Garou, whatever bane that former houses, there is something about it that makes me, yes even me, uneasy. Be wary that you do not take it lightly. The winter weasel gave a final pat of my hand before hopping off my shoulder. So good luck, it giggled as it ran away, its fur blending into the snow until it disappeared from sight. That was interesting, I said in disbelief. Pat and Maya looked at each other and laughed. I had a similar reaction when I first had met them. Oh my gosh, you took time off to come to the stream. Thank you. Okay, together we trudged into the forest to begin our journey to 𝒂𝒎𝒄 military base. Okay, wait. 𝑬𝒊𝒏𝒌�. The 𝑬𝒊𝒏𝒌� wolves had been keeping an eye on it. 𝑬𝒊𝒏𝒌� had been keeping an eye on the base recently, mainly to avoid any trigger-happy guards who wandered too far into the forest. In order to cover more ground, we shapeshifted into our lupus forms and began racing through the woods, senses keenly alert. I shapeshifted. Oh, it already says, it says shapeshift into our lupus form, so I don't need to choose. I'm just a wolf. I got that dog in me. My arms and legs cracked and twisted. My changed shape, fragments of bone crawling under the skin. My skin was rippling and sprouting fur. I growled and thrashed. Then I was a wolf, seeing the world in smells and sounds, part of a pack, the perfect animal. Snowflakes interlaced with my fur, the forest stretching far back on either side of us as we ran through a path crafted by the 𝑦𝒊𝒏𝒌� of ages past. The rows of trees on either side of us seemed endless, snow-laden branches creating a mirage effect with the dark wood. Not planning to learn Blender, no choice. Oh man, good luck learning Blender. It looks difficult. 𝑦𝒊𝒏𝒌� forest abruptly gave way to a wide plain. The thin grasses and scraggly leaf-shorn bushes nearly smothered by the thickly piled snow. Glacial winds whipped across its surface, unencumbered and free as they doused us in layers of snow. The wind shifted, pressing against our backs as it is urging us forwards. The winds carried with them a faint scent. I sniffed the air. Gasoline. My hackles raised as the smell of gasoline overwhelmed my senses. I needed to find where it came from. I barked at Pat and Maya before veering off the path to follow the scent. It grew increasingly more intense, an oily, alcoholic odor that clung to my nostrils and made my eyes water. We raced through the heavy snowdrifts of a hill, arriving at the top to find what would normally be a serene winter spring spreading below us. Dark blue waters serpentined through ivory snow, above which arced a grey stone bridge, a long line of trucks rumbling across it. Were the refugees in there? You did overtime. I see. That's good that you can get your hours back at least. Were the refugees in there? I needed to get closer. Sneaking forward among the thicket, I drew near, peering into the backs of trucks as they passed. To my relief, there were no refugees to be seen. What was there, however, wasn't nearly as worrying. but the trucks were crowded with harsh-looking soldiers clothed in winter camo and with assault rifles strapped to their backs. I slunk back to Pat and Maya to let them know what I had discovered. We returned to the Wolf Trail, the late morning sun replacing the falling snow, as Maya at last signaled to us that we were drawing near 𝑬𝒂𝒎𝒄 military base. Okay. We cautiously made our way through the woods. As the sounds of activity grew, we had a plan for getting inside. We could take out the security system! We're tackers! We would take out the cameras and security system and cut in through the fence. We shapeshifted back. First, we shapeshifted back to our hermit forms. Another damned barbed wire fence surrounded the military complex. We skirted along the edges of the forest, eventually reaching a section with no apparent guards in the vicinity. A quiet area with only the faintest echoes of base trucks rumbling and soldiers shouting reaching our locations. I disassembled the sensors. 𝒂𝒎𝒄 is not read at K, but 𝒂𝒎𝒄? Wait. One sec. 𝒂𝒎𝒄. And it literally apparently means border, according to Google. Wait, I'll do it again. 𝒂𝒎𝒄. 𝒂𝒎𝒄. We approached the fence. Tearing open the fence was the way to go. I stepped forward, my hand on the fence, ready to tear it open when two guards rounded the corner. Hey, what are you doing here? They strode over to us. I quickly pulled my jacket shut over the stolen uniform, mind racing for an excuse. My dog ran inside. I lied as they glanced at each other. What does he look like? He's a golden retriever, I responded quickly. The guard sighed, then pointed to the main gate. Go there, we'll look for him and bring him to you once he's found. He only responds to me, I said, thinking quickly. Isn't there any way we can come inside? The guard gave me a scathing look. His sharp eyes took in my features above my mask and narrowed. You're not Polish, are you? Maya helped out. Maya quickly stepped in. Hey, Anna! She pointedly looked at me as she said this. He's probably already back at home. Just go check there first. I quickly agreed and we took off back into the forest before the guards could stop us. Once we were out of sight, we raced through the woods to a different side of the bay. This time, we ensured the coast was clear before cautiously approaching. Maya drew out a pair of wire cutters and clipped a hole in the fence for us to slip through. After clambering through, we shoved the fence back in place in hopes it would not be noticed too long after we had gone. Okay, one sec. 𝒂𝒎𝒄 military base consisted of a haphazard series of wide, squat, nondescript buildings. The largest appeared to be a towering warehouse at the center, complete with a helicopter hangar on top. I took care of the cameras. I'm a hacker man. I ran interference on the security cameras, cloaking our presence so we could move undetected. We need to search one of these buildings, Pat said quietly. We would need to be cautious. Fortunately, we had managed to make our way in without notice, but we would still need to be cautious in our search if we were to make it out safely. Let's go to the general's office. We made our way through the offices until we reached the ones marked for the upper personnel. I searched for General... Whoop. That's a complicated Polish name. 𝑬𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔. I searched for General 𝑬𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔's name. At last, finding it etched on a golden placard outside one of the doors. My hand was reaching for the handle when I heard low voices coming from within. I motioned to Maya and Pat to hide. I silently motioned to Pat and Maya, and we ducked into the room next door. I listened as best as I could. It was muffled, but to my surprise, I could clearly make out Helena. Oh, wait. Helena 𝑳𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔's voice speaking to a person who must be the general, especially after yesterday's incident in 𝑬𝒐𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔, which, might I add, is already spreading all across the news. Her voice cut out, replaced by a cold, harsh tone that sent shivers skittering up my spine as the general responded, "Madame 𝒁𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔, we are already working on taking care of it on our end." I strained to hear Helena's response, but could not quite catch it. The general's voice sounded once more. "They'll be taken care of. You need not be worried about that. Our soldiers have received intel that the Belarusians..." I strained to listen. But that was a couple of names. There's a lot of names. I strained to listen, but only caught the end of it. "Tomorrow evening." The general and Helena continued speaking, but it was too quiet to catch. A few moments later, we heard a door slam, signaling the end of the conversation. "We should speak to one of them," I whispered urgently. "If one of them is the Bane, this could be our chance. They already know our face." Pat immediately shook her head. "If they are the Bane, then they'll already know our face. We planned our next move. We should search elsewhere." Search the offices. Navigating through the base, we made our way towards the immense warehouse at the center. Upon entering, I stared around at the cavernous chamber filled to the brim with rows and rows of crates, equipment, and weapons. A cacophony of noise echoed from the back, and we began carefully skirting around the site towards it. As we neared, we slowed our pace. Peering out from between two rows, we spied a loading dock with its enormous doors pulled open wide to the outside. It was a scene of chaos. It was immediately obvious that they were preparing for the operation at the border. Officers were barking orders at soldiers who loaded weapons and supplies into the rumbling waiting trucks. Pat signaled for us to leave, and we quietly began heading back towards the warehouse. As we walked through the rows, I noticed more than a few of the crates were marked with the VX symbol. "What next?" muttered Pat. "Can we just blow it up?" We could probably just blow it up, right? If they don't have weapons. Well, we could try to eavesdrop first. Hold on. We stealthed amongst the shelves, eavesdropping on the soldiers' discussions. Most seemed relatively unimportant, but at last I heard one remarking that there should be enough for those fudgers at the border tomorrow evening. I tempered my rage. It would be foolish to confront him here. We do not want to risk discovery by staying any longer, so quietly headed back towards the exit. We needed to plan. We should search elsewhere. All the places. We quickly left the warehouse behind in order to search elsewhere. Search the offices. Navigating through the base, we may have to... Oh, wait. It's still the same thing. I think it just accidentally repeated itself. Blow it up now. "Let's blow this place up," I immediately responded. "We need to stop them from leaving with these weapons and supplies." Pat looked at me like I was insane and, how will we do that? I glanced around. "There's a ton of fuel here." I gestured to the jerry cans on the shelves. "We doused those crates of it and lighted it on fire." Pat was quiet for a moment, then said grudgingly, "It's not the worst plan I've ever heard, but even if we do somehow succeed, we'll have to leave the base immediately." I mean, we already searched elsewhere, so let's just risk it. "We just have to risk it," I said grimly. "Spread fuel." Burn it all! We quickly began spreading fuel throughout the rows while Maya kept watch. Once we had spread enough gasoline, Pat struck a match and flicked it onto the fuel. Blazing flames instantly lit up, licking eagerly across the rows before soaring high to lap hungrily at the wooden crates. Yeah! I got achievement for that. Once we had... okay. We instantly booked it out of there, alarm cries echoing behind us. We began heading back across the grounds of... Okay, one sec. Branisa military base towards the way we had entered. Suddenly, a loud explosion rocked the base. Sirens instantly rang out, sounding the alarm. Pat cursed, "Fudge, we need to get the hell out of there." We run! They had already discovered us, so there was no point in hiding as we sprinted across the base. Shouts rang out from behind us, but we kept doggedly running until the fence surrounding the base coming within view. Crack! I hit my head, I guess. A loud shot rang through the air and I stumbled forward, pushed by the propulsion of the bullet hitting my shoulder. Gritting my teeth, I continued running. Leaping onto the fence, I clambered up and over, landing heavily onto the ground. We quickly headed deeper into the forest until the sounds of the sirens faded behind us. We left wait, no, not Granita, one sec. Granitsa. I feel like the Google Translate is like so tired because it goes from like fast to slow, and whenever it goes slow, it sounds so tired of me. We left. Wait, one sec again. Granitsa, ordinary staff rights revokes. No, not the military base. We left Granitsa, military base, far behind and navigated through the forest, the evening dust painting thin shadows of the trees across the snow-covered grounds. As the sun faded into night, the shadows slowly coalesced into pools of darkness. Maya directed us back towards the cairn. As we walked, we discussed what we had found. The preparations for tomorrow evening. Granitsa's military base preparations for a military operation tomorrow evening. But what was it for? I thought back to my call with Tariq. Could the Polish border guards have learned of the refugees crossing and be planning to stop them? I voiced my thoughts out loud. Pat's brow furrowed. Damn, you might be right. Perhaps they're trying to make an example of them. I wonder how they knew about it though, she mused. Maya shrugged. Could be the border soldiers overheard someone talking. Or an informant hoping to get free passage, I added. While most of the people I had met on my own crossing had been kind, there was, unfortunately, always someone who would not hesitate to step on others to ensure their own safety. Or even the Bane, Or even the Bane, effing things up again as usual, Pat said angrily. I kept silent, knowing that while the Bane could very well be behind this incident, we could not blame them for the entire border crisis. For the worm and its spirits only ever amplified and manipulated the violence and cruelty that already existed within humanity. We continued walking along the road in silence. We were about to head down the wolf trail, shape-shifting into our lupus forms for faster travel, when I heard a whistling as a blood figure rapidly shot past us. My head whipped around to see what it was when suddenly Pat collapsed onto the ground, falling face forward into the snow. Pat! I cried out. I turned on my phone's flashlight. 𝒂𝒏𝒌𝒔. Hello, camera. Welcome. I quickly turned on my phone's flashlight, shining it frantically around but seeing only the gnarled, tight-knit trees. Bold of you to come here today. A deep voice sounded from the forest to my right, a grating, raspy voice of indeterminate gender. I whirled towards it, scanning fruitlessly through the shadows. Bold and foolish. The voice rang out from behind me. Fudge, it was fast. You've gotta go, Samira, Maya urged, but I hesitated. The Bane was finally within our grasp. There's no other choice, Maya said impatiently, guessing my thoughts. One of us has to change to a glabro form if we're going to carry Pat out of here, which means the other will need to guard them. If we stay and fight, we risk one or all of us getting killed. Alright, fine, I'll carry Pat, I said as she nodded, closing her eyes. With a furious roar, she shapeshifted into her hispo form, a towering primordial wolf with glistening fangs. I shapeshifted. I was glabro, wolfish, strong, terrifying. I began racing through the forest, Pat's unconscious body held in my muscular arms. Maya ran alongside me. I could imagine she was impatient, but she undoubtedly knew I was already going as fast as I could. Fudge, they were playing with us. They could have killed Pat earlier, but they were enjoying this, I could tell. Our suffering, our fear, my panic. My panic and desperation that would be our end. Amidst my turmoiled thoughts, I heard a breeze rushing through the trees, rustling the leaves and woods and sweeping briskly across my skin. Perhaps the forest knew I was protecting my kin, or I felt a strength filling me, calming the panic within. The breeze shifted. The trees began rattling and the wind picked up, pushing us forward, my pace effortlessly increasing. As we ran, the fading voice of the vein followed us in a malicious echo. You might be protected here, but there is one place where the forest no longer touches. Once we had made it far enough away, Maya finally signaled us to stop. I set Pat down, hands on my knees as I caught my breath. Waiting till Pat at last stood awake, I shapeshifted back. We continue on through the forest, Pat staggering slightly and holding her head while cursing loudly. I can't believe I let that fudging bane get to me. Come on, Samira, am I getting old? Is this what old age is? I could not resist a faint grin, responding, You're not old. That bane was just a fudging asshole, Pat muttered, and I laughed. I lapsed into a thoughtful silence, thinking back over the fight with the bane, or rather the lack thereof. Pat nudged me. Hey, don't worry, we'll get it tomorrow. Tomorrow. I needed to go. I played 𝑳𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔. I see. I suddenly remembered my meeting with Tariq. I quickly checked my phone, seeing that I had just enough time to get there. After saying a quick goodbye to Pat and Maya, I headed off on my own, my steps carrying me back to the border. I feel like it's a trap, though. A rich darkness pervaded the ancient forest. The sounds of the night amplified as I made my way towards the border, tendrils of dread burrowing deeper the closer I drew. The shadow lines of trees abruptly broke as I stared out onto the violent gash that cut across the land. In the midst, the barbed wire was no more, replaced by a metal wall that towered high above the broken ground. The light of Luna strained through the thin gaps in the metal plates, feebly exhaling its dying breath upon the untouched snow on the other side. As I cautiously approached, I noticed a single spiral of barbed wire, still remaining at the top, eager to once more claim any that foolishly sought to climb its brethren below. Samira, a voice hissed in the darkness as I started. Peering closer, I saw a form take shape on the other side. I quickly rushed forward, relief flooding my heart at the sight of Tariq. Mashallah, are you okay? I reached through the fence to clasp his hands. His normally trim beard and well-maintained hair were now long and unkempt, evidence of his long journey across the continent. I'm fine, Samira, but we need to hurry. The guards could come by any second. Tell me what you know. I nodded, asking quickly, what have you learned? Tomorrow evening, the Belarusian guards are leading the refugees across the border, Tariq said in an urgent voice. They say there is a place with no wall there. Fear clenched my heart. Tariq, I think the Polish guards already know. They are planning something tomorrow evening. I don't know what exactly, but that could be it. Tariq swore, making me start in surprise, never having used that sort of language before. We're walking right into a trap then. Can't you persuade them otherwise? He shrugged helplessly. Sorry, Samira, but they see this as their chance to make it to Poland. Without any proof, there's no feasible way I can convince them. Crap, I cursed, exhaling sharply. Okay, then why not come back with me now? Now that he was within sight, I did not want to let him go, but he immediately shook his head. I have to at least try to persuade them. For a wild moment, I thought about just grabbing him and dragging him across, but at last reluctantly nodded. He smiled at me. I need to go, but I will message you once I know where we're headed. He squeezed my hands. And please, Samira, stay safe. And with that, he was gone. I stayed at the fence, staring into the woods where he had left, long after he was gone. At last, I turned away. I was making my way back towards the forest when a shimmering glow caught my eye. I started to run when my steps faltered, then stopped. The glow slowly approached, growing stronger and brighter, not the bob of a flashlight, but something softer, warmer, until before me stood the form of a wolf. It was the spirit from my dream. You're the spirit I saw in my dream, I breathed. It inclined its head in acknowledgement before speaking in a low, whispering growl. Follow me. It headed into... One sec. 𝑬𝒊𝒏𝒌� forest. The soft gleam of the moonlight on its fur retained even within the darkness of the trees. I follow my dreams. I'm gonna follow my dreams. Without hesitation, I followed the spirit, for I felt no malevolence emanating from it. They told me there were barrows in the Puscha. The voice broke the silence, wrapping around me as if in a dream. Graves of the ancients built thousands of layers ago, the voice whispered, calling me forward. This voice that spoke of the dead of the past, and now Puscha has become a graveyard once more. This voice that spoke of the graves of the living. Layers of voices, a whisper, a cry, a pained howl that rang through the trees. Have you come to set us free? The trees parted and I stepped forward. The enchantment broke as I stared around me. The spirit had led me here, back to where it all began, and where it all ended. The clearing lay before me, the snow crisp and unbroken, as if no one had ever stepped foot within its place. As if blood had not painted its surface in violet crimson streaks those many months before. Why are we here? I asked angrily, my voice splintering through the silence. I turned to the wolf, but it just inclined its head. Then with a terrifying suddenness, its body faded to liquid shadows that dissolved into earth. Before I could move, the shadows exploded forth, winding past my frozen legs, up my torso, and till they had consumed me whole. I opened my eyes. What the hell? I was still in the clearing. I stayed. Watching emotionlessly as the freezing rain drenched the area in a violent downpour, a wolf appeared in the midst, a being of pure spirit this time, and I now recognized exactly where I had been sent, the Umbra. Spiritual mirror of the physical world. Follow me, it whispered again. I stayed where I was. Something held me back as I hesitated, remaining where I was. This was not the same wolf spirit from earlier. Its mouth split into a wide grin that spread unnaturally from ear to ear, its fangs glistening, dripping with blood. It lunged forward with a loud snarl. Enough! The wolf from earlier appeared in the clearing behind it. It dove to the other spirit, swiping with its claws and causing it to explode with a blinding light. The wolf spirit that had led me here landed lightly on the ground before turning to face me. I want answers, now. I said, crossing my arms. The spirit inclined their head. I brought you here to help you, but it appears they learned about it and came to stop you. We are two sides of the wolf, they explained. She is the rage that devours and fights, while I am the heart that guides and protects. As the forest has become divided, so we two now stand separate. Those who once listened to our rage and our guidance now hear only her unchecked fury and cannot distinguish friend from foe. What do I do now? I asked, unsure if I wanted the answer. You were brought here because you cannot face what lies ahead, without confronting what lays behind. You shimmered once, then disappeared. Snow began falling around me, coating the ground in white once more. A rustling noise sounded to my left, and I whirled towards it, my eyes widening in shock as I broke through the clearing, 𝑳𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔 by my side. Two guards stepped ominously towards the snow, forward onto the snow, then two behind. I watched. Helplessly, as the same scene I saw every night in my dreams replayed here now in front of me. Then my other shelf was shifting once more, to his bow. Primordial wolf that howled into destroying the guards in front of her. No, I gasped for what I knew was coming next. I watched, unable to look away, as my wolf eyes turned crimson. The moment when I had no longer been able to tell friend from foe. The moment when I had destroyed every living being within that clearing. I watched. I forced myself to watch until 5 bodies lay upon the snow. Watch as Luna hung high overhead, and the bodies disappeared. Watch as 𝑳𝒂𝒏 now stood before me. It was an accident, 𝑳𝒂𝒏 said gently. It don't matter, I still more than you, my brother. I whispered, it doesn't change anything. His voice echoed softly, gently. You're right, it doesn't. He faded away and the clearing disappeared, then reappeared from the darkness as reality returned once more. A strange calm filled me. Finished Chapter 5. The starlight glistening upon the tears that fell unchecked down my face. Okay, spoke with Tariq 100%, investigate the scent of gasoline 17%, broken through the fence 46%, found out the border time, blew up the warehouse 0%. Nobody blew up the warehouse. Wait, I found out the border time. Wait, people found out the border? Wait, I found out the border time? They didn't find out the border time? I'm confused. That can't be right. Right, next. Chapter 6 ending. Yes, I guess we are finishing this today. Let me just drink my milk real quick. Other people didn't want to blow up the factory. I don't know. I thought there was not many options to do. All right, chapter 6 ending. The day dawned bright and clear. The skies overhead a brilliant, sprawling area of blazoning cerulean. A day of fierce pride. For the Warsaw Sept had arrived in full force, I looked for Ilona. But one of the werewolves told me she had to stay to manage the cairn. She had sent me a gift. Handed over a small amulet from her. As I placed it around my neck, I felt my will strengthening, fortified for the battle to come. The clear, calm skies of the afternoon suffused to a darkening gray as dusk overtook. 𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒔 forest, a low misty fog rolling in on its coattails. Despite the grim covering of leaden clouds, the sun had managed to burn a hole through to coat the cairn in a defiant, fiery glow. We now only waited on the 𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒔 wolves. At dusk, Maya emerged from the forest and into the clearing. A large group of Garou accompanied her. The preparations were at last complete. Tariq had messaged me earlier. Tariq had messaged me late this afternoon to let me know that he was headed to the Naru. No, Naru. One sec. Narif. River marshlands. Fortunately, Maya and the rest of the Garou had been there before and would help guide us. Maya shifted to her lupus form and took off running, while the rest of us followed suit. It's a game of small shooter. I expect enough people played it that each choice was done just once. Maybe they didn't save there. Maybe it's something you have to opt in and then people didn't opt in. Or maybe there's some little weird issues where it's like a combination of. The budding sun dips below the horizon in one final searing blaze before being replaced by nightfall as Maya led us through the dense woodlands. Bursting from the tree line, we reached a long, winding river. One of the 𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒔 wolves growled, and it would lead us directly to the marshlands. Racing along the water's edge, Luna's light glinted along its dark, opaque surface. As we near our destination, we spread out. Sniffing the air for any sign of the refugees, almost immediately, the piercing howl of one of the Garou rang out, alerting us as we raced to their location. The hard-packed forest floor transformed to virescent moss and murky peat that grasped at our paws, as if attempting to drag us down to its depths. Plunging through the woods, we burst onto a wide expanse of algae-covered water interspersed with gnarled trees protruding in tangles from the dark depth, the Naref River marshlands. On either side, the silver of the border wall gleamed in the moonlight. A yawning maw of emptiness spanned between it, where the marshlands had heedlessly interrupted the wall's path. I sniffed the air, catching the scent of a large group of humans on the other side. We instantly took off, dashing through the waters to cross the Belarusian border. Reaching the shore, we headed straight back into the forest, the scent growing stronger and stronger. We soon spotted a group of refugees heading our way, several grim-faced Belarusian guards accompanying, Tariq suit amongst them. His normally well-maintained beard and hair grown long and shaggy and a pinched, worried look on his face. I needed to get close without the guards noticing. We would take out the guards first. Silently padding forward, we surrounded the guards. On my signal, we surged forward, taking them out before dragging their bodies backwards into the woods. In the darkness, the refugees did not appear to have noticed. The group moved forward, breaking from the tree line onto the edge of the marshland. I was about to head to Tariq when I caught the mingled smell of humans and gasoline, signaling the arrival of the Polish border guards. A prickling unease stirred within me as I remembered the words of the Bane. There was no doubt in my mind that they were here as well. I glanced around, noting to my relief that our large numbers, this many Garou, would ensure the safety of the refugees. Alright, fine, I'll protect the refugees. Nevertheless, I still felt uneasy about Tariq's safety. I remained behind, while a group of our Garou darted along the shoreline to hunt down the Bane. Unfortunately, the refugees had not noticed the guards and had continued heading towards the marshland waters. Darting out of the forest, I dashed in front of the refugees. They froze at the sight of me. Unleashing a piercing howl broke the spell with loud cries. They turned to race back into the woods. We traveled through the woods, my senses on edge while I kept an eye out for any signs of further trouble. Thankfully, in the darkness and chaos, no one noticed another refugee as I sidled up to Tariq and greeted him. "Tariq, it's me," I said quietly as he started, turning to stare at me with wide eyes before a relieved grin broke out across his face. "Samira, mashallah. It's so good to see you here." It was good to see him too. I felt my heart warm as I responded. "Was that you?" "The wolf, was that you?" he asked with a question in his eyes as I nodded. There were Polish guards waiting on the other side. He exhaled sharply. "I see. Let me owe you our thanks for that." I smiled at him before continuing. "Listen, there's something I need you to do. Can you convince everyone to head further south along the wall? My friends can tear down a section up ahead in their other form." Instantly agreed. Moving away to spread the word that they had found a way through. After we put enough distance between ourselves and the marshlands, 2 of our Garou in their Hispo forms raced ahead. Continuing along the border, we eventually found their handiwork. Enormous clawed gashes sprawling across a section of the wall with enough space for the refugees to cross through. Refugees crossed. Although I caught more than a few terrified glances at the obvious claw marks, the refugees eventually all crossed over as I breathed a sigh of relief. We had succeeded. Night ended as dawn rose over the ancient primeval forest. Guiding the refugees through 𝑬𝒊𝒏𝒌� forest, we had taken them to the cairn. There, the Garou had helped them find safety and the start of their new life in Poland. The other Garou rejoined us later that day. Oh, that was it? That was fast? Later that day, the other Garou had returned triumphant, bearing news of the Bane's demise. I guess the chapter 6 is supposed to be more of like an epilogue. Tariq and I returned to Warsaw and Khadijah's embrace, the news rife with fervid speculations on the politician's mysterious disappearance. We had done it. Oh, I got an achievement. Beat the game without using gifts or items. I didn't even know I had any gifts or items. I don't think I had any. We had done it. We had destroyed the Bane and returned safely to Warsaw. This time I had not failed my family and my kin. Eventually I was able to find a job within my field, while my weekends were split between helping out Victoria at 𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒎 and doing volunteer work with the refugees. For although my life had settled into a bright, comforting paradise, the hellish despair and the ongoing purgatory of the border were never far from my mind. But I was a werewolf, a Garou. Rage burned bright as I vowed to protect humanity once more and destroy all that will harm them. That was supposed to be in inventories. Okay, wait. Bane was killed 100%. Border patrol guards were not defeated. Oh, I didn't defeat the border patrol guards. You decided to protect the oh. I protected the nobody protected the refugee. Wait, what? But then they saved the refugee. Okay, that's confusing. I think something is a bit weird with the how they do the coding for the who this does what here. Because it can't be 100% or zeros. You have finished Purgatory! Okay, let's read this. Come, gather beneath Luna's light, sit upon the heart of the cairn. Listen to the story of Samira Ramani, known among the Garou as Zohar of the Glasswalker, Ragabash of the Pack. Honor and loyalty were the trademarks of her path. Her cunning schemes enabled her to traverse any challenge. She had fought and won against the despair that haunts the Garou. Samira chose to aid Pat in her investigation of the supernatural murder of Emmerich the Glasswalker. Alexander searched into the dark secrets of the Wolfrider Pack. still remains a mystery. Yeah, that's the other thing that I didn't do. I remember you had decided to option to use one power, decide not to. They may have a problem data upload. That is fair. This is a small game, too. It's a small text-based game. Samira's future is bright as she rejoins the set to battle both human and worm-infested foes alike. While the border crisis remains ongoing, she is determined to protect and save her fellow refugees, hoping for the day when her aid is no longer required. The border crisis between Poland and Belarus began in 2021 and remains ongoing. The game was loosely inspired by those events. All characters and events depicted in this game are entirely fictitious. There was no military base that was blown up. There was only in the game. Werewolf, the Apocalypse Purgatory has been designed, developed, and published by Different Tales. Written by Rebecca Holmes. One person wrote this? One person? Damn. Damn, good job. Like, just one person doing all the branches must be very annoying. You. But we have the programmers and the illustrators and whatnot. Editing, music. For help, publishing, and administration. Yes. Through all the credits. World of Darkness team. Yeah, World of Darkness. Yeah, so we did a werewolf. We finished up Werewolf the Apocalypse Purgatory today. Okay, that's all in Polish. Okay. Let me see. Is there any extra things? See, no. Just other games. What other games do they have? There's a main menu? Suddenly there's a lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of people. We are a small indie video game developer based in Warsaw, Poland, and Reunion Island. Also, they make both of the werewolf games are on Steam. Let's see. Okay, so we finished Werewolf the Apocalypse Purgatory. Change screen. We finished reading that, and then actually next week I'm going to play more Werewolf the Apocalypse games, such as there's another Werewolf the Apocalypse game called Werewolf the Apocalypse. Werewolf the Apocalypse Heart of the Forest, and that's only a couple hours I think, and then we will play that together with a Vampire the Masquerade game. It's Heartless Lullaby. So we will do both games. That will be on Monday. Okay, see how it goes. Then we might not be able to finish 𝑰𝒏𝒌𝒔 this week, so 𝑰𝒏𝒌𝒔 on. Hi Mare, how you doing? Hello Tongue. Just finished reading the game. We just finished. Like literally just. Also, also thank you so much, Wilkish, for the pronunciations and helping me be accurate. Actually, should I translate your name into Google Translate too? How do I? Oh wait, no, I can take your name from Discord. Steal your name. Steal your name. Put it into Google Translate. Google did the most. That is fair. Yeah, Wilkash. 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 Yeah. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, hope everyone is doing well today. We can stick around for a little bit. I noticed our name changed. Yeah, they changed it back to the usernames. I don't know why they do that. They're being a big stinker. Yeah, it's YouTube. YouTube being big stinker. YouTube just be big stinker sometimes. YouTube done goofed up. Yeah. Sometimes they show the username, sometimes they show the display name, and it's like pick something. One thing. No rhyme or reason, just randomly happening. Oh yeah, I should probably advertise soon, but we will on next Friday, not this Friday, next Friday is going to be 2-year anniversary for the not really the channel, because the channel was made before the 2 years. Like when I debuted on 24th of October, we won't be doing anything like too interesting, I feel. We will do a 2-year anniversary stream, and I will basically be playing Jackbox with the VGL girls, the 𝑰𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒌� girls. We will play Jackbox, so because it's on everyone's timeline, it's going to be much later than we stream, so maybe some of you catch it, some of you might miss it, so we'll see how it goes. But we will be doing a 2-year anniversary stream. I should actually post it, but I haven't been, so I'm just telling you guys now for oh wow, congrats. Yeah, 2 years. We debuted on 24th October 20, but it's 2 years, so this is for the 2023. Good for me. Yeah, enjoy. You can join the stream. Then we'll just play like Jackbox for a couple hours, like 2 hours or so. Not too long. But I'm also excited for next week, because next week we are going to be playing a lot of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, because that game is coming up. That game is coming up next week. Congrats. Thank you, Sweat. Thank you. Big switch. So, what are you guys gonna do later? Finish the game. Finish the game. We're gonna have so many games to finish this month. You're more into Vampire World of Darkness? I am. I've always been. This game is actually my first time delving into werewolf at all. This is really my first time delving into werewolf side of World of Darkness. I think it's kind of neat so far. From what I can see. Honestly, werewolf is much more complicated lore than I thought. Yeah, I was like, what is all this? Why is there like, what you have like your werewolf farms, and then you're like which clan, which tribe, and then like which type of werewolf, and it's so many things, so much lore, and I was like so confused. It's a good thing that explains. Otherwise, I'll be like, what? Nani? I don't know why the game is not closing for some reason. Steam still says I'm playing the game for... Waiting for it to shut down. Shut down already! Don't be a silly. I don't want this game to suddenly be like 99 hours of playtime. Oh, there we go. It closed. Stinky.
Hello, Mau Mau. How are you, Mau Mau? How you doing? Doing good? I'm sad. Why are you sad? Don't be sad.
I noticed that werewolf is not as popular in Hollywood than vampire. Yeah. They have a few like werewolf series, like there's like Wolf, I think, and like some other werewolf stuff, but yeah, vampires are way more popular. I'm happy. I have a Schrodinger emotion. Why are you happy and sad? Why you now you're just being weird, Mau Mau? Why you being weird for? Blender is making me crazy. I can't make the dang wall. It looks weird. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry that the game no work for 𝒂𝒏𝒄, that your game not working. I'm angry. Why are you angry? Why you all these weird emotions all together? Doing? Also, I should check my stirrups. I haven't checked my stirrups. Big yawn. Don't yawn. Not allowed to yawn. Even though I took a nap earlier. I'm gonna drink my milk. Oh, I have some milk. I'm rolling around at the speed of sound. Why are you rolling around at the speed of sound? That sounds uncomfortable. Drink. Yeah, I drink some milk. I had some milk here on the table. I should have made coffee in hindsight, but I just woke up right as stream was about to start. I was a couple minutes late to stream. I'm gonna fade away, a thing of beauty. What are you singing something, Mau Mau? Just woke up. Like I had a nap. I had a nap, Paladin, instead. It was an EP. I would not believe my eyes. Oh. I would not believe my eyes. That million fireflies lit up the world as I fell asleep. You are the EP streamer. I am EP streamer. That is why I become, because I sleep a lot. Stretching, doing, checking my things, I'm no stranger to love. You know the rules, and so do I. And then everyone starts clicking off stream like, what the heck? It's like, I didn't come here to get rickrolled. I didn't come here to get rickrolled at all. I'll stop believing. Hold on to this. I don't know that one. I'm sorry. Is Mal singing one song or more at this point? I think he's singing a bunch of songs. Bunch of them. Because you have fire. Oh, that one. You are my fire, the one desire, believe when I say I want it that way. Tell me why. Immediately, everyone clicks off stream again. You sound like Toad. I became Toad. In Werewolf, how the forest plays Maya is probably a prequel. Ah! That is why I thought Maya would something like in the lore or something. Yo, Briar, salamat na pagkabar. Hello, Achong, welcome. I'm doing good. That song was stuck in my head for days, and now it returns. I want it that way. It's indeed her way. Yes, exactly. Exactly. We're just doing a little yapping. The arms of an angel. We kind of finished for today and just chill. Yes, we are. We're just chilling. Apparently, Mao is doing a bit of karaoke in the chat. Mao is doing idol work. Yeah, Mao is doing karaoke. Why are you singing the national anthem? Why are you singing the national anthem? Why are you so patriotic suddenly? It's not the patriotic month. Is the stream about to end? Hello, Lee Min Chung. We're just chilling. Maybe in a few more minutes. What does a Malaysian anthem start with? Like the meaning of the first few sentences. Our country, the blood of our land. I don't know. Hold on. Karaku translation. The Karaku translation. My country, the land where my blood has shed. Okay, thank you, Lee Min Chung. Thank you. Yeah, listen to Lee Min Chung. He's the local historian and the local cowboy enthusiast. Didn't Briar sing the national anthem? I did. But I didn't translate it. Was it the state anthem of Sarawak? I did both. Poker face. Oh my god. Poker face, poker face. Poker face, papa. Immediately gets claimed because singing lyrics. Sometimes singing the lyrics is enough to get you claimed because I think the auto captions detected it, and they're like, nope, that's copyrighted. You can't say poker face. And it's like, gosh dang it. Oh god, I'm sorry. No, it's okay. I'm just saying that can happen. It's not when you say it, it's when I say it. There was a joke once at the end of you to go, oh, how our land is beautiful. Look at the sun shining. Oh, the blood we have shed on our land. Oh, I see. It's either one or the other. Never in between. This. Am I done checking? I'm done checking. Done checking my V-Rise. V-Rising. Gen 5. Briar. How? What do you mean how? What do you mean how? Why are you asking how? How? Why am I like this? I'm not even Goober right now. I'm not Goober. I'm not the Goober. How can you see if my eyes are souls, if my souls are eyes, if window of soul? I don't know how the meme goes. I have no idea. How can you see into my eyes like an open door? Oh. That one's Evanescence. Oh, can you see into my... Why is V Rising not launching? My eyes. The open door. Leading you down into my heart. But I don't sing it. Why? They say the eyes are the mint. No, Briar. But why? What happened? Why can't we sing it? Oh my god, my Steam is lagging. Nothing is loading. The copyright. I'm gonna get copyrighted. They're gonna take all 2 cents of my ad revenue. Briar hits good notes. Yeah, exactly. I just need to do a high voice. You can hear that, right? Because usually that gets cut off. High voice. Yeah, it didn't get cut off this time. Come on, game. Why are you not loading? They're gonna listen to you sing so good they're gonna claim. They're gonna be like, wow, this person sings amazing. Amazing. Oh, neat, it did get cut off. Yeah, sometimes it gets. But now it don't. It don't get cut off. I think Steam crashed. Oh wait, nope, realizing it is opening. It took a while. Like forever. Check some stuff on. I would show you, but it would just be like collecting items. From the servants. It's okay, Briar, cause you're a wizard. I'm a wizard? I'm a wizard! You're a wizard, bro. Wow! I'm a wizard! I'm a what? I'm a wizard? I'm a wizard? You're a wizard, Briar. Yes, a wizard. A wizard! Eep wizard. An eepy wizard? Have you seen that video? I've seen Harry Potter, if that's what you're asking. That's probably not what you're asking. The Source Filmmaker video of that is so funny. I have not. You can only do sleeper data spells. I cast Eep. And they will Eep. If I cast Eep, people will Eep. That's it, right? It will be like honk snoo, honk snoo, honk snoo. Let's see. Want me to link it in Discord? No, it's okay. I'll link Discord. I probably won't get it anyway. Summon the pillow. On the pillow. There we go. Function time. Functioning. He's a hung snoot. Just. It's why you're loading so slowly. Go faster. Sing us to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Oh, dreamers. That's your lullaby. Just go to sleep. Go to sleep. She's a true master of the 𝑰𝒏𝒊𝒕�. Exactly. Just tell you to go to sleep. Wait, I should do the creepy face. Hold on. This. No, that's angry. Oh, that's hot eye. Oh, that's crying. Hey, go to sleep. Hey. Okay. Old lullaby. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. That is how you will go to sleep. I'm literally shaking and crying right now? Are you shaking? Are you crying? Are you being a little shaker? When a little spooper? Yup. Literally shaking and crying? That's no bueno. That's no bueno at all. I have no idea what voice I'm making. I'm being a little big boy. You want a little big baby? That's no bueno. That's no bueno to be a little big baby. I'm just sorting out my. Not that it's useful. Somebody's into Avril Lavigne. Mama's into Avril Lavigne. Also, Mamo doesn't like my girlfriend, but I don't have a girlfriend. I don't got no girlfriend. He's just a skater boy. She said she a lighter boy. He wasn't good enough for her. He had a pretty face. Her head was sunk in space. She didn't call back down to her. This is this scuff karaoke stream, guys. Stuffy-okie. Why do you have to go make things so complicated? I see no way. All good cover song ideas for Briar. Yuta is just gonna be Avril Lavigne song. Acting like you're somebody else leaves me frustrated. It's life's like this, you fall and you roll and you break and you take what you
and you turn it into honesty. You promise me I'm never gonna find you faking. No, no.
And I'm like,
Wow, Toad has great singing. Toad has amazing singing. Good job, Toad.
shy face.
Shy face.
Brain rot.
Brain rot, 31%. Why are you doing brain rot when the stream's about to end? You brain rot when the stream's about to end. What if you get the brain rot time?
I would like to defer egg yolks. Why would you like to defer egg yolks? You're saying that he should have more brain rot?
Now everybody's doing the brain rot.
Only 10%. Not enough brain rot. Damn's rookie numbers indeed.
We'll end stream in a little bit more. And we will probably go to Rika. She's doing a little chill yapping thing. And she is recovering from her things or whatever. Went on a hiatus. But she's back.
Briar, how are you? I forgot to ask.
I'm doing good. Just doing good. Just doing goody things. Goody gumdrop. Gucci gang. Yeah, basically. Gucci gang. Gucci gang. I'm so eep. You wanna go eep soon? Go eep. You don't have to join in the raid later. You can just eep. It's good to eep, but I wanna chill. But it's good to eat.
It is good to eat indeed. Despite only wake up a little, I look very tired. Oh dear. I hope you can get more sleep later tonight. Yeah. But I assume you have a long work day ahead of you. Chillin' with Stinky.
Yeah, I'm not stinky. I'm not stinky.
Alright. Let us raid, guys. We'll be raiding fellow 𝑣𝒂𝒂𝒎 𝑰𝒏𝒇�. She's just chilling. Alright guys, I will be partaking in the leaving. Sniffer.
No sniffer. No sniffer. Say no.
To sniffer. To sniff. Wait. Is it not?
There. No sniffer.
No sniffing. Okay guys, time's up for me. Gotta get something.
Alright, see you, Lucas. Thank you for coming. Thank you with the pronunciations, and I'm really glad you are here. And I hope you have good rest of your week and whatnot, and everyone too. Thank you guys for coming today. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for listening. See you guys later. We're gonna raid. You can go if you want. You can raid if you want. Good night, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye now. Bye-bye.